Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about working with reference images in Krita. Let's start by adding a reference image. So right now I'm going to copy a reference image of this ship here, and if I do Control V or paste, you can see that it pasted in here as a layer. And that's fine, but the problem with this is that I can't really move the image outside of the canvas, and then it's in the way if I'm trying to edit. So how can we deal with that? I'm going to go ahead and delete it now. I'm going to find my image on my hard drive, and then I'm going to drag and drop it into the document. Now you can see this contextual menu shows up, and I can insert it as a reference image, along with the regular insert as new layer, etc. So I'm going to select this one. Right away you can see that it looks a little bit different, and I can actually put the image outside of the canvas, which is useful if I want to be able to edit the canvas while I have the image in view. Now when I inserted the reference image, it automatically activated the reference image tool, which is this little guy here that looks like a little pushman. I can move the image around, I can resize it, and if I go to the Docker here, the tools option, or if you can't find it, you can go to settings, Dockers, tool options Dockers, and make sure it has a little check mark in it. Now the Docker has, the tools options has a couple of different options you can mess around with. So for example, I can change the opacity of my image, which is useful if I want to be able to trace on top of it. And I can change the saturation if the colors, for example, are not important and I just need to be able to look at the values of the image. I'm just going to put this guy here. And I'm going to go ahead and add another image by clicking on this plus icon here. And then going to the folder to find the image that I want to add. So I'm going to add this ship image right here. Alright. Now let's say that I want to rearrange the order in which these images show up. So for example, I want to be able to have this one on top for whatever reason. And I can click between them to select the ones I want to work with, and I can right click on it to bring up the context menu. So I can say send bring to front, you can see that it's in front of it, or I can, for example, lower it or raise it and so on if I have multiple images and I want to figure out, I want to arrange them in the correct order. Right now, the way I usually work with reference images is that I actually just put them off to the side and then I do my drawing on the canvas. But maybe you want to be able to trace one of the images because it's it's kind of tricky or whatever reason. So I'm going to go ahead and move it over here. I'm going to pick a color that is noticeable. So this really bright pink, right? And then I'm going to pick my brush and I'm going to start tracing it. And you can see that it's not working. You can't see it. Well, the reason for that is because I'm going to show you here. I'm going to select the reference image tool and pick it, and I'm going to move it. And you can see it. I did draw, but it's underneath it. And the reason why you can't see it is because you actually cannot draw on top of reference images. And that's why this opacity slider is useful. You can change the opacity of the reference image, and then now you can see underneath it. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and just delete this layer, and now I'm going to pick my brush, and now I can start using this image and tracing over it like I would have, like you'd imagine you would do. Okay, and that's cool. That's not all you can do though. There's another neat thing you can do with reference images. So I'm going to back out. I'm going to select the tool here and move it, and I'm going to change its opacity back to 100%. One of the neat things you can do is you can actually sample a color from one of the images. So I can either pick the eyedropper tool, and then I'm going to select the eyedropper so you can see, and then you can see as I move around that the colors are selected, or if I have my brush tool selected, I can do my shortcut, my keyboard shortcut, and quickly select the color like that, and then start drawing with it. You can do a couple of other things too. You don't not only limit it to resizing, for example, but you can also, for example, skew it if you kind of hover over this guy, or you can rotate it if you hover over the corners. Also, if you want to resize it but not keep its aspect ratio, you can click on this checkbox here, and then it lets you freely resize the image. Now let's talk about reference image sets. So right now I put these two images here, but maybe I want to be able to reuse my reference images for another illustration, and I don't want to have to go and drag and drop each one independently. You can actually save the images as a reference set. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that. If you go over here and if you select this little folder icon in the tool options, now I'm going to go over here to this already created reference image set that I had, and you can see that I can just put it on there, and I can load multiple reference images. Oops. So here's one of fish. Believe it or not, I did need this one before. And then you can let's say you added a new reference image here where you could select multiple ones, and then you click on this save icon, which is a little floppy disk, and it'll let you save fish and chips. Now one thing you gotta be careful with is this thing right here. When I select an image, you can see that it says save location. I can pick between embedding it in the document or linking to the image. Let's go ahead and look at the document really quick, at the file itself. So here's the file I'm working on, and you can see that the size of it is about 24 kilobytes. But let's go ahead and select embed into KRA, or to Krita, and I'm going to save the document. Now we go back and look at the document size, and you can see that it's substantially bigger. It's 1.8 megabytes. Now the reason for that is that it's when you select embed to KRA, it's actually taking the data of the image and putting it inside the document itself. Now it's useful to embed them in the document you're working on. If, for example, you're going to be working on the image in some other computer, or you're going to be sharing the document, because if you only link to the image and then you go and change the image name, for example, or you change if you then try to load the image, you'll see that it gives you an error because that particular reference image is not available. Now you can go ahead and go find it, and then it'll continue to work, and that's fine. When the same thing happens if you if you save the reference image to a set, if you specify link to an image, then the set actually contains just the links to the file names. So you can see, for example, here it's only 576 bytes. If you select here to embed to it and then save the image, so I'm going to go ahead and save this reference set as ships. And now we look at the file name. You can see it's substantially bigger because now it's actually embedding the image data. So another benefit of linking, though, let's go ahead and just link the image now. So I'm going to go ahead and save the image set. Okay, and I'm going to close this guy. And let's say that I edit the image. I'm going to open this document, and I'm going to load that reference set. And you can see that changed. And then what's even cooler is I'm going to go ahead and save this document and then close it. And now I'm going to, let's say, undo this thing, or maybe let's make it a really obvious change. I'm going to just put a nasty color in here. And now when I open the Krita document, you can see that the image that it was linked to changed. So now we can make modifications to that image and then have them show up in our reference images. And that's it for reference images. I hope it was helpful. So give a like, drop a comment or a question, and remember to subscribe. Thanks.